Claudia Laird. I just wanted to make sure I covered a couple of things while I was up here and didn't get nervous, so please excuse my little note card. I am the other runoff candidate for County Court at Law Number 2. And the first thing I want to do is just say thank you. I'm looking around at the faces, the people in this room, and I see so many of my supporters. And I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for your hard work, and I appreciate that. And before one more minute goes by, I want to make sure I tell all of y'all that. I wanted to also let you know about the Conservative Coalition of Montgomery County. I know y'all are all familiar with that group. They actually had the candidates fill out questionnaires. They had us come in and do a forum. They were very extensive. At the end of that process, the voter panel took a vote on the best candidate with regard to conservative principles. I received an 89% result on that vote. My opponent received 0% of those votes. So just based on conservative values, that was the Conservative Coalition's results for my race, and I thank them for that endorsement. Other endorsements I've received are from my boss, Brett Ligon. I'm very proud of that. I want to address some experience issues because we've talked a lot about that so far. And my opponent does not have 4 times the experience that I do. He does not have 3 times the experience that I do. He is older than I am, but I have a lot of life experience. I'm a grown woman. I pay taxes. I put myself through law school. I worked and went to law school at night. So I would go to work 8 hours a day, and then I would go to University of Houston at night, and I would handle my law school classes and my master's in business administration classes. And when I first signed up for that program, my counselor said, not possible. You will not be able to do both those degrees at night. No one's ever done it. I've been here my whole career. It's not going to happen. And I said, well, I just don't take no for an answer, and you haven't seen me. So I did complete that. I'm very proud of that. But I did work, and I was in business. I've managed one of the largest restaurants in Texas, and I also was a treasurer for a geophysical corporation during that time frame. I have the master's in business administration. I have operations management experience. I've budgeted. I've managed hundreds of employees over multiple states. And I'm proud of that experience. I haven't talked about it a lot on the campaign trail. I do think it's applicable to the business management of the back office. But as far as when I'm on that bench making decisions, I know having had that experience, it doesn't come into play when you're in front of the bench because there are laws. And that is of primary importance. Not fixing somebody's problems. That's not what a judge is there for. You're there for the laws. I did want to discuss a couple of other things that, just as far as accuracy, this court does not handle asset forfeiture cases. I know this because I handle all the asset forfeiture cases for Montgomery County, and none of them have been handled in County Court at Law Number 2. So that's not exactly correct. Also, all the JP court cases are not appealed to County Court at Law Number 2. It's only the civil cases. The criminal cases go into general court rotation for all the other criminal courts. So I think it's important that we have a judge who, number one, understands facts before they tell them to a crowd, and number two, understands what exactly the court does that they're running for. And I have those qualifications. I spent a lot of time in County Court at Law Number 2 because all of the other courts send their bond forfeiture cases to County Court at Law Number 2. And I handle all of those cases, whether they're felony or misdemeanor, for Montgomery County. So I've handled well over 450 cases in County Court at Law Number 2. I think that makes me extremely qualified because our bond forfeiture cases, the state cannot appeal them. So that means a bondsman can appeal it if they think the judge made the wrong decision. But the state can't. And we're the state, and it's just an odd juxtaposition. So you better have a judge in there who understands bond forfeiture law. And that's me. My first case for bond forfeiture was against a gentleman who wrote the book. And I had the distinct pleasure of standing in front of Judge Winfrey as my opposing counsel walked up and said, "Here, I brought a gift for you," and he handed me the book that he wrote on bond forfeiture. It was a short-lived, funny event for him because I very shortly made short work of him and sent him home, and he and I have been good friends since, but he calls me for advice now, and he makes sure to tell when he's giving classes all over the state of Texas on bond forfeiture to bondsmen, he tells them, you should not write bonds in Montgomery County unless you intend to pay them or make sure that your client shows up to court. That's something that he's added to his class since Brett put me in charge of bond forfeitures in Montgomery County. I think it's extremely important. Just want to mention that I've made over $2 million for the county, either in bond forfeitures or in asset forfeitures. Asset forfeitures are only handled in district court. Chapter 59 only gives jurisdiction to a district court judge for asset forfeiture cases, and that is a situation where we might find a drug dealer that has a lot of money from selling drugs to our kids, big house, fancy cars. First we arrest him, we prosecute him to make sure he's punished that way. We do not let him keep those things. It is not right for someone to be able to keep such ill-gotten assets. It's almost like blood money. And so I'm very happy to fill that role, and what we do is we put that money back directly into the county, into law enforcement, to try and go back and use their money against them. The last thing that I would mention is I have the distinct privilege of clerking for Judge John Devine when I was in law school, and he was a judge in Harris County. And it's something that I've never forgotten. I talked a lot about it during my last campaign. It was my first understanding of the other side of the bench, and I've seen it through his eyes. I've been on the other side of the bench. That's something unique to me in my race, is that I have seen the inner workings of a court and what a judge does already through the eyes of John Devine as a judge. I think that's important. I'm going to hit the ground running, and I'm going to stop now so you guys can ask me some questions.
In your court, or in that court, are